G'day everyone, Mike here with Store DJ. Today I'm showing off the new Roland AIRA Compact series. So they've dropped 3 models of these today. We've got the T8, which is a drum machine and bass synth sequencer. And we've got the E4, which is a vocal auto-tune, harmony, vocoder, and looper. And the J6, which is a 4-voice polyphonic synth with a chord sequencer on it as well. So as you can see, these things really are compact. They're not joking. At 19 centimeters wide, they are borderline pocket size. If you're wearing some chunky cargo pants, you can probably carry these around in your pocket. But all 3 are the same form factor. They're all rechargeable. They have a USB-C port here for charging. You've got MIDI in and out on the back. You've got analog sync as well, in and out. You've got mix in and out as well, which is really cool because it means you can just daisy chain audio from one to the other rather than using a mixer or going through your computer and mixing it that way. The other awesome feature that's common across all 3 of these is USB audio. So not only is that USB-C port used for charging, you can also use it to stream audio to your device, whether that's a phone, a laptop, iPad, whatever. So that's really great for recording your jams, but also for people who want to share their jams on social media, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, then you can just plug this straight into your phone, record the video and the audio at the same time, and you're good to go. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to do my best to smash through demos of each unit for you so you can get a good vibe on what each one is about, starting with the T8. So as you can hear, it's got that 808 vibe happening in the drums. You've got 6 drum voices there inspired by the 808. You've got a 303 inspired synth as well. So you've got all the basic controls over that, and you got a delay and reverb. This thing is absolutely jam-packed with little buttons and little knobs, so it's very impressive what they've managed to squeeze into a very small panel. You get a lot of tactile control there, which is really cool. Making a beat is as easy as you would expect, so let's clear this one. Bass drum, let's just do a really quick 4 to the floor beat. Whoa, why isn't that working? There we go. Snare, put some hats in. Cool. Simple as that. If we want to put a bass line in, just go to our bass section. You can just put in steps and then adjust the notes manually, but it's a lot more fun to go to the keyboard and just kind of play them in. So you can hit record. So as you can see, it's super intuitive, super easy. If that's all there was to this little thing, then it'd already be an impressive product, but they've actually crammed in a lot more extra features and a lot of depth to this thing that I was really surprised about. For example, if we go to the snare thing, we can chuck in another step, and if we hold down that step and turn the knob, we've got probability there, so that now has a 50% chance of triggering. So fired then, missed it then. You've also got sub steps, so if you want to put like a closed hi-hat trill, which is, you use a lot in electro and hip-hop kind of beats, then we could make this, let's go hold this down, turn that up to 4, now we should have a trill there. Another feature I really like is that the rhythm section and the bass section can have different length tracks. So I can go to my bass line that I just made, go to the last parameter, and I can change that to anything. So you can have a lot of fun with polymetric patterns here. So that's a really great addition on a little box like this, but it doesn't end there. You dive into the menus and you've got a ton ton more parameters to choose from. I definitely don't have time to go through all this stuff, but there's heaps in here. So I'll just pick out a few of my favorite things and go through them. So you can adjust the tuning of the hi-hats, which is neat. Cool, they're like higher pitch now. You can also wind it all the way down, you'll get a more metallic one. Another good one is that there is actually 3 sounds you can choose from for the hand clap track. So I actually really like this one. So the other thing that I want to definitely demonstrate is the Overdrive, because it actually sounds surprisingly really good. So I'm going to turn it on for each of my percussion tracks. Then I'm going to turn the drive up a lot. All of a sudden, we have a different drum machine on our hands. It sounds huge. So that saturated drum sound is so popular in house and techno, and it's crazy to hear it coming out of such a little machine. Like I said, there's heaps more parameters to tweak in the settings, in the menus there. You've got a sidechain function, you've got panning, you've got tuning, you've got extra decay parameters, you've got extra tom sort of sound sculpting parameters. You can change the waveform on the synth. Yeah, there's lots to go through, lots to play with, but we're going to keep this demo moving. So let's get onto the J6. So the J6 is a 4-voice polysynth. It's got a Juno 60 model in it, so it sounds really, really nice. And it's primarily designed for programming in longer chord sequences. So your 16 bars, your 32 bars, that sort of stuff. This is an area that grooveboxes really traditionally struggle with, because so many grooveboxes are limited to 4 bars, even 2 bars, you know? So how it achieves that is via these 8-step buttons along here. If we were to compare it to the T8 we were working in 16th steps. So you've got 16 steps along the bottom here representing 1 bar. You can actually set these to represent up to 2 bars per step. So right there you could have up to 16 bars worth. You can actually set these sequences to be right up to 64 steps long though, so 128 bars or something. It's a little unusual, so not as intuitive as the T8, to be honest, but once I read the manual, it all made sense and I got the hang of it. So let's put in a sequence. So just hold step, put one there, put one here, and we'll just make our last step the 4th. And there's our little really, really simple chord sequence. Now, a chord triggering at the start of the bar is not that exciting, so Roland have included this pretty wild arpeggiator on board. So if I clear this pattern again, enter, exit, and I turn the arpeggiator on, then got something that's a lot more interesting than just hitting a chord. Or if I turn the style around to something else, then we get more chords and more complex arpeggiations. And each style has a handful of variations as well. Now you can just play the chords manually, but it is a little bit of a pain with only an octave to work with. So we've got a chord generator, so we can just hold down a single key. So So these Arpeggiator styles range from sort of up and down vintage style traditional ones through to these really complex sort of chord strummed ones. Like check this one out. I'll play it with a beat as well. So like I just showed you, there is a little bit of sound sculpting on board. You've got a filter and envelope knob here. The filter is the cutoff frequency as you would expect. And if you press shift, you actually get access to the resonance as well. So that's cool. The envelope is sort of an overall time of the envelope. And if you press shift, you get attack. So that's handy. Obviously, that's quite limited in comparison to an actual Juno 60, but you do have a lot of presets on board as well, at least. So you can just scroll through them. So plenty of usable sounds there, but of course you can just take a MIDI output into a full-blown synth if you really want to have the full sort of capabilities of a synthesizer. So that's about the gist of the J6. One final thing that's definitely worth mentioning is that you can have different arpeggiator styles and variations per step. So you can create some really, really complex sequences with this machine. Okay, let's move on to the E4. Okay, so the E4 is designed to manipulate vocals. You've got a 1/4-inch jack for your mic, you've got a pitch shifter, you've got a formant shifter, you've got auto pitch, so auto tune, you've got harmony, vocoder, you have a looper as well, and you've got a scatter effect. Now, we've got a problem. I'm not a vocalist. I'm not prepared to do any singing on the internet and embarrass myself. So what I am going to do just to demonstrate this is just plug my phone in and grab a YouTube video. All right, I've lined up my mate Jack Kerouac to do some beat poetry for us, so let's see what we can do.
Out we jumped in the warm, mad night, hearing a wild tenor moan,
Going across the way going, yeah, yeah.
and hands clapping to the beat, and folks yelling, go, go, go. And far from escorting the girls into the place, Dean Moriarty was already racing across the street with his huge bandaged thumb in the air.
Let's bring in a beat, huh?
The rolling shot, ham, a big look at the crowd. It was a man.
Let's try out this looper.
He was from going down again, picking it up eyes.
Press pause.
With cries and wild eyes. He was raising himself from a crowd pit with cries and wild eyes. He was raised up. With cries and wild eyes.
He's a shipyard
He was
worker, and he didn't care.
with cries and wild eyes.
He's a shipyard
He was
worker, and he didn't care.
with cries and wild eyes. Cries and wild eyes.
So that is heaps of fun. I'm totally the wrong person to demo the E4, but I'd have to imagine it'd be heaps of fun in the hands of a capable vocalist. But even for someone like myself who likes to just play with synths and drum machines, it's pretty fun. All right, that wraps this up, I think. Hopefully that's given you a vibe on what each one of these can do. Really impressed overall. The T8, surprisingly powerful. The J6 sort of filling a hole that's been in the market for probably decades with those longer sequences. And the E4, potentially a vocalist's new best friend, but also heaps of fun if you're not. Also really impressed with the build quality on these. I don't think I've ever come across these little trim pots before that are this sturdy. There's almost no wobble to them at all. Usually they feel really flimsy and like you're gonna easily break it. These feel very sturdy. Yes, they are lightweight and plastic, but they feel nice. All right, my friends, we are done. 3 products, 1 day, 1 afternoon. Whew. It was a lot. I'm totally spent. Thanks very much for tuning in. These are available now from Store DJ or Manny's. So please check out the website or go down to your local store and like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you enjoyed the video, we'll be doing plenty more. So catch you next time.